Hey guys, it's been an incredibly long filming stretch here. I have had some crazy technical difficulties, but I'm really excited to be bringing this one to you because it's going to be all of my favorite cream products. So we're talking about bronzers and contours, about blushes and highlighters, and all of my favorite things. And if you're interested in knowing about the rest of this makeup, I'm also filming my partial Sephora VIB haul today. I got a couple of my orders. I'm that person who has to go back and like, I forgot that thing. So I always end up having a couple boxes shipped to my door. But I did do a little tutorial on this eye look. I really think that it's great for fall. So that video will be coming up very soon. So cream products have really been all the rage this year, and I find that a lot of new products have come out, and I think that actually rolling into fall and winter is a perfect time to try these out because when our skin gets a little bit more dry, it's easier to have powder products sit on the top of our skin, make us look a little bit more aged. So it's a great time to check out those creams if you're looking for some great new ones to try, or you're just tipping your toes into the water of cream products. Just keep watching. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So before we go through with our cream products, I just want to throw on the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation. I did get a couple samples of this from Sephora one day when I was in. I've been trying out a few new foundations, and I think that I like this one, but I just want to do maybe not first impression. I guess this would be like second impression, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that on so you guys can see that in case you've been curious. I know that there's been a lot of buzz around all of the new foundations coming out, and so I thought I'd just demo this one for you guys. So one thing that I did notice right away when I tried this foundation is, for me, because I usually only wear like a tinted moisturizer or something pretty sheer, this is really pigmented. A little bit goes a really long way. I just honestly tapped into the cap of like the sample, and that really did my whole entire face today. I just put on some of the Smashbox Primerizer, just the regular one, not the crystallized one that has more of the glow factor, just so we can really see the true finish of this foundation. I will say, as far as the shade range goes, while they have quite a few shades, I felt like it was really hard for me to find my exact shade. And I honestly felt like the undertones were a little bit confusing. A couple of the shades that I tried, I would say that I tend to lean on the warm side of neutral, and I have heard that these tend to run pretty yellow, and I would agree because like the neutral was a little bit more on the yellow side, and the like more golden or yellow undertone was really yellow. So just keep that in mind. I would say if you are really more of a neutral to cool, I would just go with the cool shades. But honestly, the best thing you can do is go in store and either get a couple samples of a couple different shades, or you know, go ahead and go in and get color matched. So right away, this is definitely more coverage than I'm used to. Not like heavy by any means, but it definitely has a bit more like makeup-y look to it. And it does give a very, like, you can see it looks luminous, but I don't by any means feel like this is as hydrating or as, I guess I would say glowy or wet feeling as like my Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, especially the tinted moisturizer, the gel in the tube. So it almost feels powdery to me, which I'm sure is not going to be what most people feel, but it has a really nice finish to it. And I have only used this with a brush. I should probably give it a go with a beauty blender, just to see if maybe it's a little bit more similar to the finish that I get from like a gel product, just because that obviously would have a little bit more moisture to it. So I do feel like it sits a little bit more around my nose. And I would say my skin is kind of like freaking out right now. I've been breaking out a little bit, probably due to all the dairy that I've been having For some reason, I've been on a cheese kick, and I'm not even usually like a huge cheese lover. But I feel like I need something that has a little bit of glow right now because some areas like around my nose look dry just because I've been trying to take care of a few breakouts that I've been getting. Anyway, so I do like the finish of this, and I'm going to be trying a few products from the Sephora VIB sale, the summer savings sale or whatever they're calling it. I did get quite the haul, so I thought I would just use a few products, and a lot of them I have are new, so we'll be dipping into a few of those as well. And I'll probably be showcasing those in another video, but I just wanted, probably in my next video, but I wanted you guys to get to see this Anastasia, just in case you're looking for a new foundation, because like I said, I did try a few. I tried the Fenty, the new hydrating, and I did not care for that. It was just too makeup-y. It was just too much for me, but this is really nice. It does balance out my skin, but it gives it more, I would say it's more like a satin finish. I don't personally feel like it's super glowy luminous, but maybe that's just because I'm used to like being more like hydrated. So there's that. So we will now, for our favorite in creams, jump forward into those products, and I'll see you guys really soon. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some concealer on and get my face prepped, but then we'll head right into my favorites. Okay, so I'm going to try out a concealer that I've been really excited. It's an oldie. So I'm going to go ahead and try out a concealer that is a true classic and just honestly one that I've never utilized. I decided to go ahead and pick up a mini during the sale, and that is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. So I got the shade Cafe au Lait, I believe. Yeah, Cafe au Lait, which is light 2.4, and I'm just going to apply that pretty lightly, in all honesty, just a little bit under my eyes and just to brighten up a little bit. So obviously this was like, I would say a fairly cult classic product for a while, and it's just one that I never picked up. It is on the pricier side. This is like the regular size, I believe, is $30, and that's pretty high for a concealer. So I just wanted to get a small one to be able to try it out. And in all honesty, these smaller sizes are always great for travel anyway, so. And of course I'm trying it on top of a foundation that I don't normally wear because I just put on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous. And I guess I will probably obviously try this with a foundation that I'm used to using, just so I can really get a true first impression. But it's, in all honesty, I don't think that it is as creamy as a lot of newer concealers. Like, I mean, obviously for a while there, we were using a lot of like super high coverage, thicker concealers, but I feel like I have concealers that blend out a little bit better than this. I honestly just tried a drugstore concealer, and new to me, not new, but a newer drugstore concealer that I've honestly really been liking. So maybe I'll do like an updated, like some new drugstore favorites. Let me know if you guys would like to see that. It always helps me out when you guys leave comments in the comment section. Where else would you leave comments? So please feel free if you ever have any questions or any comments. I'd love to interact with you guys. And in all honesty, it does really help out my channel if you reach out to me that way. And I'm always more than happy to have discussions about makeup. Like, that's why we're all here, right? So you guys can see, I'm going to turn this light down just a little bit. So you guys can see it does look really nice and natural. I do feel like I had to take a little bit more time to blend it out though, and that could be from the foundation underneath. So I will try it with another foundation in the upcoming days, and maybe I'll leave a little like blurb somewhere on the screen here to let you guys know how I feel about it with some of my like everyday go-to foundations. Okay, so you guys can see that's our finished skin. And I'm really just going for something fairly light today. I like that concealer. I'm just gonna have to play with it a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and set my under eye and my eyelid, and we're gonna move into some of our cream products. So when I was watching a review on the new Fenty foundation, they were using a few of the Fenty brushes, and I had to pick up a couple of them. They look so pretty. And this powder, which one is this? The 170, it's like a powder setting brush. It just feels so soft, and I like that it's got some bounce to it. So I think that'll be really good for setting the under eye and not disrupting any of your concealer or anything. I'm not gonna go too crazy with powder since we are gonna be using some cream products. So I'm just setting the under eye and right around the nose. Oh, this feels so good. And it is synthetic. And I'm just using the Hourglass Veil powder. If you guys have watched many of my videos, you'll know that that's like one of the only powders I'll use. This brush feels so nice. And it's so pretty. So I am definitely glad that I picked up this brush during the sale. It's not by any means a like small investment, but I find that good brushes really do last a really long time. And I also got the 120 like contoured, it's like a sculpting highlight brush. So you guys can see it's like kind of angled, if you guys can see that. So I was actually watching the Dupe That channel, and Kay was saying that she uses it to contour her nose. And I don't really ever contour my nose very much, but I'm really interested to try this out to do that. But I could also see it being a pretty good like cheek highlight, so good multi-purpose brush. And then when I was on the sale section during the VIB sale, they had this 3-pack of brushes. Let me grab it. They had this 3-pack, and when I was on the Sephora sale section, because I was looking at the new, and when I was on the Sephora sale section, I saw that they had this 3-pack of brushes that came in this cute little clutch. You guys won't be able to see that. And it came in this cute little clutch, and the brushes came in this cute little clutch, and I thought that they, in the pictures, looked almost like kind of like vibing off these Fenty brushes. When I got them, I was a little disappointed because they looked more rose gold in the pictures, and you guys know me in rose gold, but these are the brushes, and they're actually more like, I would say like a nude champagne color, which obviously the color at the end of the day doesn't matter if they're great brushes, but this is the Sculpting Complexion brush, the Flat Blending brush, and the Small Highlighting brush. So this 3-pack was on sale for like $18, and then of course having the Rouge discount for another 20% off. I thought that was really good, and this I thought looked really kind of similar to the Fenty, the large like contouring brush. If I love these brushes, I might get that one as well because it just is so pretty and they seem to be really nice quality. So, but couldn't beat the price on this. The one thing that I will say is these brushes are very dense. So this I could see using for cream products. And this one again for like a cream, like this one for maybe cream bronzer and contour, this one for either bronzer or contour, depending, maybe even blush if it's a sheer blush. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this highlight brush. Like maybe if I have a highlighter that's like really, really sheer, or it's a hard product to get out of the pan, because I don't know. I don't think I'll use this for highlighter because it's so stiff. I just feel like you'd put like a racing stripe on your face. So maybe this will be like an all over wash brush. I don't know. It's really stiff, but for $18, even if I just really like 2 of these brushes, I think that that's a pretty good deal. 18 before the sale. Okay, this clutch I doubt I'll ever use. It's like, it's got a spot for maybe IDs or something, but then it's just basically a brush clutch if you just need something for your 3 brushes. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a few of my favorite cream contour and bronzer products. So let's get started with some bronzing products. So I've got a few different cream bronzers, and I'm gonna start out with the first one that I really mostly just use as a contour product, and that is the Fenty Matchsticks in Amber. So a lot of you guys may have seen this, but the thing that I love about this product is not only the shade, because it really is truly the perfect contour shade, because it has more of a gray tone to it. Not like scary gray, but enough to where it's like that cooler, more like gray toned brown. Because as I was talking about in another video, when you're doing a contour, you do really want more of a cooler shade so that it does look more like a shadow, because that's what it's supposed to be, is like a shadow on your face that makes you have a little bit more structure. So that's one that I really love, and you guys will see I did use some of these today. I did use Amber as my contour today, and I also really like that this has a bit more of a dry finish. So while it is a cream, it's not so creamy that it's going to slide all over the place, and that could be good or bad. You do want to work with this fast, so if you're new to using a product like this, I would say just like put it on in one area, blend it in, and then go subsequently to each area, because this will set fairly fast because it doesn't have a lot of spreadability. The nice thing about that though is you're not going to end up really like spreading out that contour and getting it really kind of like muddy looking. So I find that sometimes with some more emollient cream products, they just keep going and going, and then all of a sudden your like whole face is that color. So this you don't have that with. So moving on to a few of my favorite liquid bronzers. So if you guys saw my recent dupe finder video, you'll know that I really have fallen in love with the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Glow product. This is really a great cream bronzer. I love the shade that it is. It's really that like beautiful neutral bronze. It's not too warm, it's not too cool, and it blends out so nicely. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about it, go ahead and check that video out, but this is one that's definitely risen to the top of my list. And one thing that I always like to remind people is you can always use a foundation as your bronzer. So if you have a formula that you really love, you can certainly just go a few shades deeper and finding that perfect tone for you. to use as your bronzing shade. And I really enjoy doing that with a foundation stick. So this is one of my favorites. This is actually the little mini guy. So you guys know that I really like the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue foundation stick. And this is a little miniature in chestnut. So this shade is great for more of like a more golden bronze, so when you're ready for that like J-Lo glow. But I love how nicely this blends out because it's a foundation, so it's meant to really blend well over your skin, and it will really blend in with the products that you have. So the one thing about this is you want something that I recommend having something that's more of a light to medium coverage. You don't want something that's too full coverage, or else you'll get like a really like color blocked situation going on. So you want something that just blends well. So you guys can see even here, it just warmed up my hand really nicely, and that can be a really nice way to bronze. And it's also great because then that shade, usually once you start getting a little bit more tan in the summertime, you could even add like a drop of that into your regular foundation shade if you're using a liquid, or put a couple stripes or sections on the outside of your face, the perimeter of your face, as you get more tan into the summertime to sort of darken up your everyday shade, if that makes sense. So you can use that shade to darken up your foundation as you get more tan as the summer goes on. That was a really long, rambling way to explain that. Okay, so if it looks a little darker in here, it's because it is. I just spent over an hour on the phone with the Apple Store. After my camera battery died, I decided I'd just upload some of the footage to my computer and start editing it, and my computer wasn't working, so it's been an evening. So I guess this is a good wear test for the foundation, since I just had my face up to the phone talking to Apple support for a while. Anyway, so we still have one more bronzing product to go, and that's the Nude Sticks Matte. I believe these are called the All Over Color sticks. So this is actually the shade Sun-Kissed, and this is these are considered kind of like blush slash bronzers, and the shade Sun-Kissed is more, it's almost like a reddy brown. Bondi Bay is the most well-known, like popular one, and that one's a little bit lighter, and I would say more like if this one's a reddy brown, that one's more like an orangey brown, but they're really truly meant to be more bronzers. And I did use this on top of the Fenty Amber stick. So I put amber where I would do contour, and then I did this Sun-Kissed shade where I would normally bronze. And I do find that I like that because the warmth is a little bit, the warmth adds that nice glow, whereas the contour just helps add the shadow and the definition. So these nude sticks are so great. I actually just got this kit. This is the Nude Sticks like 3-in-1 kit. I picked this up during the sale. So in case you guys haven't seen, all the Nude Sticks products come in these really nice tins, and they have a great mirror inside, which is perfect for travel. But this one came with 3 little minis, and it came with the Sun-Kissed bronzing shade, which you could of course use as a blush as well. And then Sweet Peach Peony, which is one of the more Nudies in Bloom, more like glowy, dewy blushes. And then the Hey Honey highlighting stick. So this is what the full-size sticks look like. This is actually the Poppy Girl blush, but they all look like this and have a brush on the other side to blend if you would like to do that. I don't usually choose to do that, but this would be a great way to travel. This shade I actually really like. It does give you more of that like summer sunburn look if you do it all over. The difference that you're gonna find, not just obviously colors as far as this and the Fenty Amber stick, but you will find that the consistency is different. This one is definitely like more creamy, but not as creamy. So like this one is somewhere in between, I would say, the Fenty stick and then like that Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue stick. So these blend out really nicely, but they do kind of like dry down to a little bit more powdery finish because they are matte. They're not going to be super glowy, but it does look really nice and natural. So this is another option, and I will show the footage of me applying this. It goes on, when you first put it on, you feel a little scary, like you feel like this possibly actually look like a bronzer. But when you blend this in, it really does just look like a beautiful, nice warm bronzer. If you are a little bit more fair-skinned, I would maybe choose to go for the Bondi Bay shade, just because that's going to have a little bit more of an undertone that's going to suit your skin type. So I really like both, but I enjoy having this little travel kit, and that's the shade that came in it, so that's really fun. So now let's talk a little bit about cream blush. So I have really become a cream blush fan in the last, I would say, 2 years. I find that it really gives you a beautiful, healthy glow, and you can find cream blushes that range anywhere from very sheer to really pigmented. So it just really depends on your personal preference. I tend to find that I like something somewhere in between, and something that's not quite too watery. I find that something that's really watery tends to break apart anything I'm wearing underneath. So I like something that's a little bit more of a creamy consistency. So we'll get started with some of my favorites. So this is one of my first loves, and it's at a great price point. This is the Flower Beauty Blush Balm, and I really enjoy these because they have a beautiful creamy consistency. I have the shade Nectar, and I also have the shade Pinched that I've used, and then I did recently just pick up the brighter like berry toned one, and I use Nectar today, and I really enjoy using this with a damp beauty blender. You could use this with a brush, or you could even tap it on with your fingers. I think they would all work really well, but I actually use the end of a little mini beauty, these are those beauty blender blushers. Say that 3 times fast. But I really do like this. I can put a little bit on my hand here so you guys can see. So it really has a creamy consistency. I would say almost like a concealer, maybe a little bit more thin. And they just blend out into this beautiful shade. So it sheers out really nicely. I don't find that it gets patchy or skippy at all. I really enjoy it. And I think it just gives a beautiful natural glow to the cheek. These don't have like shimmer or glitter to them, which is great when you're not wanting to like emphasize your pores or any texture that you have. So it really just gives like a nice natural flush. So speaking of the nude sticks, I do want to talk about their nude stick blush color. So I believe these, like I said, are called the all over face color. So they do have matte, and then the newer ones are the more dewy finish. And I find that both are really beautiful. It just depends on what kind of finish you're looking for. Do you like something that looks more like satiny, or do you want something that has a little bit of dew to it? If you go for the ones that are a little bit more dewy, the chances are that the staying power isn't going to be quite as long as something that's matte, but these are very beautiful. This is one of the dewy shades. This is Sweet Peach Peony, and this just is a really nice, I would say like peachy color. Of course. I do also have Poppy Girl, which is a little bit more pigmented, which I really like. I'd rather actually work with something a little bit more pigmented because then you can sheer it out a little bit more. But if you're just starting out with creams, you might enjoy something that's a little bit more sheer. This is along the lines of that same color, that Nectar from the Flower Beauty ones, but it's a little bit more glowy and just a little bit more sheer. So these are both really lovely, and you could actually use these on the lips as well. That's one great thing about nude sticks, is they're really meant to be used as like a multi-stick. So you could use it as a lip gloss or a lip balm. You could use it on the cheeks. The more matte ones you could sweep over the eyes. So these are just really nice, and these little travel sizes are great just because they pack a lot in one tiny little tube. One last blush product to talk about, and these are the ColourPop blush stick. So I have had these for a while and I've really enjoyed them. They are a little bit more on the satin side. So if we look at, the shade is Mic Drop, which is probably the most pigmented shade that I have. So you guys can see that probably looks really scary, but you're obviously not going to draw it on like a crayon on your face, hopefully. So the way that I found that I really like to use these are to actually use a stippling brush and just gently go into the top of it with the brush, and then I usually brush a little bit off on my hand just to completely like melt that product into the brush so that I don't have any like little extra pigmented pieces, and then blend it over the skin. So you guys will be able to see here, if I blend this out quite a bit, so it just has like a nice flush, and then that'll just give you that beautiful like peachy pink cheek. And some stick products you can go ahead and go right onto the cheek with, especially if they're like a fatter format, just because like a couple pops and you're good to go. But these I really don't recommend doing that with, because you will get, you'll either drag and skip a little bit, or you'll just get like dots on the face. So that was Mic Drop, and that's one of the more pigmented shades that I have. And then I also have Under Pressure. So Under Pressure is a little bit lighter, and again, it's more of that like peachy tone. Then we also have Sideways, which this is one of the blushes that actually has some shimmer to it. I would say that this is like a goldier version of NARS Orgasm blush. So it's gonna have a little bit more sparkle to it. NARS Orgasm has like a little bit more of pink with that gold shift, whereas this has a little bit more gold to it. So these are both really pretty shades though. So again, they both blend out really nice onto the skin, and I find that they're pretty long wearing, and these will be beautiful. Like I said, coming into fall and winter when our skin gets a little bit more dry, the more powder products we pack onto our skin, the more aged we look. It's just part of it. The more texturized you look. Unless you have incredibly oily skin, you might find that you really enjoy a cream product because it gives you more of that skin-like finish. And I lied. I have one more product. I can't believe I forgot about this one. So just like the nude sticks are meant to be more like multi-use sticks, these are the same. These are the Bite Beauty multi-sticks, and I really enjoy these. These are meant to be eye, face, and lip products. So this is the shade Cashew, and I actually use this as my lipstick today. So it's just a nice, like, cool mauve nude, one of those indescribable colors. So this shade, again, is a little bit more pigmented, but when you blend it out, this makes a really pretty, like, this would be a great fall blush because it's got that like mauvey undertone to it, and it works great as a lipstick too. It's not as creamy as I would normally wear in my lipsticks, but that means it's going to last a really long time. And honestly, I could see just like blending this all over the eye for like a really nice monochromatic look, and it's going to be just great for fall. So this is the shade Cashew. And one thing that I love about these Bite products is they have like magnetic closures, like, oh, it's so satisfying. So these are really great as well, and they're very pigmented, so they last a really long time. So if you're looking for something that you can use if you travel a lot, or you just want something that's very minimalistic, these are a great one. All right, so let's get into highlighters. So I have a few different cream highlighters, and the same goes for cream, just like I was talking about blush. If you want a little bit of a glow to your cheeks, but you don't want to look really dusty, and you don't want that really like thick textured, a cream product would really be the way to go. Unless you have really oily skin, I think that most of these will work on your skin. So I'm going to start with a product that might actually be cheating as far as when we talk about like a cream product, but these are the Super Shock Cheek highlights. So these are from ColourPop. If you haven't tried a ColourPop Super Shock product, you at least have to get one, whether it's an eyeshadow, a blush, or a highlighter. I definitely love the highlighters. These are very interesting because they have a very like creamy powder feel. So these are really more like a powder, but they have like a little bit of a creamy feel to them. So these I find just have a beautiful consistency. This is Smoke and Whistles, and I'm not sure if they actually make this shade anymore, but in all honesty, you really can't go wrong with any of the ColourPop highlighter. And I do really like these. The best way that I find that I use these is actually just tapping it on with my finger. Also, a stippling brush can do the same as well. And just to clarify, in case you're not really sure what I mean when I'm talking about a stippling brush, this would be more of a stippling brush. So this is actually the e.l.f. small stipple brush. And so this is going to have like multi lengths of bristles so that they don't all end at the same spot. So you're going to get a softer, more sheer application, and it blends out a little bit more than like a flat ended, like more densely packed brush. So I really like these. The e.l.f. one I have a Makeup Geek one as well, and a couple Luxie ones as well that I really like. So these are a great brush to have when you're looking to blend in something with a little bit more soft finish. Now we're going to talk about what I think is probably the most inexpensive product from this entire collection, and that is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Hello Halo Liquid Highlighters. Whew, that's a mouthful. So I have 2 shades of these. I picked one up from Ulta in the shade Halo Goodbye, and I have a video showing this one. It's in my Anastasia Beverly Hills Alyssa Edwards video, so check that out if you want to see this guy in action. So I really enjoyed it, and I also got the shade Rosy and Ready, and in all honesty, I think I have another shade that I ordered and just haven't received yet, because these are like under $5 for sure, and they're just so pretty. So this is the Rosy and Ready shade, and this is definitely more of that like pinky toned highlighter. And so these look a little daunting in the swatches, but when you actually blend it out, they are you can make it look really natural and luminous. So this again has a little bit more of a pinky shift to it, whereas that Halo Goodbye has more of like a champagne tone to it. I think they have 5 shades in total, and it looks like something for every skin tone. So this can be really beautifully blended under the cheeks. I do find that this one, I tend to just take a little bit and blend it out onto my hand first, just so it's not too wet on my finger, and then tap it in, and it just blends out really beautifully. Okay, so I've got another well-known favorite, and that is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the liquid. So Becca has the pressed, which is their powder form, their poured, which is more of like a cream compact type, and then they have this liquid, which is obviously like a creamy liquid. So it really just depends on what format you like. I do really like the pressed compact, but I find that that is even more natural of a finish than this. So if you really want something that's like a barely there glow, those are really pretty. This just has a little bit more amped up tone to it. So this is Champagne Pop. So this is gonna have that more like peachy, like kind of goldy peach. And these, again, I would choose to just use these with a beauty blender. So that is like enough to highlight probably 3 people. I really like these. Again, I would probably just dab this out onto my hand and then bump my beauty blender in and then just pop it on the tops of my cheeks. So should I add a little bit more? Why not, right? I do have actually the next product we're going to be talking about on from the video, so you guys can see the difference. This is the first product that I use, and I just went like really light-handed with it. So we can add a little bit of this. So if you guys can see, these can really be quite reflective, or they can be fairly natural. So it just really depends on obviously how much you put on, how much you blend it out, how much you layer. And why not right over my lipstick? I can tell that I'm getting like extra glowy. I'm trying the Anastasia Luminous Foundation right now, so that's what I have on my skin underneath all of this. And my natural luminosity is definitely starting to come through a little bit. Okay, so you guys can see how that works, and you can use this as a beautiful like brow bone highlight. It really blends out so nicely. While Becca products are a little bit on the pricier side, if you bought one of these, you would certainly have enough to last you a really long time. So let's talk a little bit about the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drop. If you watched my most recent video, you know that I really fell in love with the bronzer drops, which they don't make anymore, but these highlighter drops are really beautiful. So this would be a full size, and I have this one in Blossom, which is more of like a shimmery pink, and then I also have a few of the mini sets. So usually they come out with some little mini sets around the holidays, and this set had like 4 of these guys in it. This is gonna last me long enough to be able to use it for a really long time. So I'm gonna show you guys this one. This is the one that I put on my face for today's video, and I just really love these drops. So again, this is something that I prefer to put on, at least tap on with my finger or a brush first and then blend it out further, just because they do have a little bit of a more wet feel to them. So you guys can see these are really beautiful. They can get very intense, And I'm sure you probably, because I've wiped off so many like shiny things now, I'm starting to look like the Tin Man. So I don't even know if you can see exactly how glowy these really get, but this is the Moonlight shade. And so this is really just more of that like pretty champagne shade. I think actually for today I put on the rose gold shade, so it's a little bit deeper and warmer. But this Moonlight shade is really great if you have fair to medium skin, and it can look really intense on the skin. So the one that I did was the rose gold, which is right here. So this rose gold shade is what I wore today, and you can see the difference between the two. So the Moonlight shade is going to be a little lighter and brighter. Okay guys, so that takes care of all of my favorite cream products. I feel like I'm always trying new creams. There are a few out there right now that I want to get my hands on. I'd like to try the M Cosmetics blushes, and I don't think I've tried the Milk bronzing stick. So those are two on my wish list that I'm looking to get. Do you guys have any that I missed that I should check out? Or let me know if any of these are really piquing your interest. I really want to thank you guys for taking the time to sit down and hear a little bit about all of my favorite things. Please hit like if you enjoyed this video. It really does help me out. And I really look forward to seeing you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you really soon.